Well, with or without protecting the sagebrush lizard, gas prices are heading higher. The number of states with $4 gas is growing, and that's hitting the president in the polls. Americans who say prices at the pump are hurting them financially are much less likely to approve of the job he's doing. The president keeps blaming oil companies, but will those green energy policies get blamed come election time? Here now is GOP pollster Chris Wilson. All right, Chris, the president is kind of demonizing oil. He's saying, you're to blame. You oil companies, you're to blame for this. Is that a winning political strategy?
Oh, it's not. In addition to the numbers you just referenced, you see from the same ABC News Washington Post poll, 71% say that it's a financial hardship for them, the cost of gas prices. 50% say the president should be able to do something about this, and even a larger number of independents say the same thing. I think what we see here is...
Chris, hold on a second. This week, we're going to have oil companies reporting, like Exxon could well report $10 billion worth of profit in a 12-week period. That makes them unpopular. If the president goes after them and blames them, that could put a winning political edge at the moment.
Well, you're exactly right, and I think that's what Obama sees in terms of what he's trying to do here. But at the same time, the American people are going to hold him responsible for those gas prices. So we can stand in the Rose Garden and try and create class warfare, but at the same time, if Americans are still going to the pump paying over $4 a gallon for gasoline, it's going to impact his job approval rating. It's going to impact his chances for re-election. At the same time, you're going to have the oil and gas companies and members of Congress, as we saw with the Vitter bill that was just Senator Vitter bill that's been introduced. They're going to decry things like what you just reported, the ideological use of the EPA and other federal agencies to regulate the oil and gas industry and make it more difficult to drill rather than easier. And that's going to have an even greater impact and drive gas prices up even more. I think overall it may be a short-term win in terms of class warfare use for Obama, but long-term loser.
What about the president's green energy policies and initiatives? Any suggestion that they are popular?
Well, it's surely going to be popular. Anytime you put green in front of anything, it's going to be popular, but it's not going to have the ultimate impact, which is bringing down the cost of what a person pays for $1 of gasoline. And as long as that number is over $4, as long as you have the ideological moratorium that exists on drilling for offshore oil, or the dragging the feet on the new permitting of drilling on land here in the United States, or opening up new areas, it's going to keep gas prices high. And so he can sit there and call for green energy all day long, but it's not going to impact the bottom line, which is what a person pays for $1 of gas.
The editor of the Wall Street Journal's editorial page, Paul Gigot, told me just the other day that if gas stays at $4 a gallon into next year, the president cannot win re-election. And you say?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is very difficult when you see the sort of numbers you do. 71% of Americans say this creates a financial hardship for them. This is hitting right at his base. This is not hitting rich Americans. It's lower income, median income Americans. It's just hitting. That's who Obama won 65% of the vote with, is that medium income Americans. They voted Republican for Congress in 2010. They're the swing voters going into 2012. And if he's not able to bring them home, and he's not going to be able to if they're spending as much of their income as they are right now in gasoline, going into 2012, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for him to win those votes back. And he can't get reelected without them.
GOP pollster Chris Wilson, thanks for joining us, sir.
You bet. Thank you.